Captain Midnight.
This video is brought to you by CuriosityStream. Get access to my streaming video service, Nebula, when you sign up for CuriosityStream using the link in the description. You know, I really didn't think I was ever going to cover this movie. Even after making several Avatar videos and being asked to over and over again, I just didn't see the point. Like, everyone knows this movie is bad. Not just bad, like easily one of the worst widely released blockbusters of the past 20 years or so. And a lot of YouTubers have dug into it already, sometimes scene by scene. But rewatching this thing, I mean, how could I not? I usually try not to get too overblown in my criticism, because I feel like YouTubers in general tend to really lean on hyperbole and yelling and stuff. But like, this movie makes it really hard not to. It's kind of the perfect object of failure. It fails on every level a blockbuster movie and an adaptation can. Will you enjoy this film if you love the show and just maybe want to see the highlights of season 1 on the big screen? Even if you went in with low expectations, there's almost no way this matched them, so no. What if you didn't care about the show at all and just wanted to watch a blockbuster adventure movie? This film falls flat on its face there too. Other than maybe the score, which is at least like baseline competent, pretty much nothing in this movie works. It's kind of amazing to sit back and watch and slowly realize just how much they screwed up. I think that moment came for me when Aang learns that the air nomads have all been wiped out. Noah Ringer, the young actor playing Aang, or Ong as they call him in the film for some reason, was just so genuinely terrible here. I knew after that there was no going back. There was no redemption in sight for this movie. And to be clear, I'm not blaming Noah Ringer for being bad here. That almost seems unfair. A lot of the blame obviously comes back to the man Newsweek once called the next Spielberg. So in this video, I'm going to try to talk about the movie, sure, but I also want to talk about the production history that led us here, and the baffling series of choices, both by M. Night and Nickelodeon Studios, that gave us this. So let's dig into what might be the worst adaptation of all time. It all started with a Halloween costume. M. Night's daughter was a big fan of Katara and asked to go for her for Halloween one year. That caught the director's attention at just the right time. Because Shyamalan was looking for a different kind of project. He needed to prove that he could do something in a new genre. Sure, his slow burn suspense films The Sixth Sense and Unbreakable had been beloved by critics, and the former was a massive hit. And Signs did pretty great at the box office too, but by this point, he had really burned his bridge with critics and audiences. In 2006, he made Lady in the Water, an interesting but deeply flawed film about an apartment superintendent who discovers a mermaid in the pool. It didn't perform as expected. And this was made even worse by the fact that the director cast himself in the role of a writer whose work would go on to inspire millions and change history, a choice that was pretty roundly mocked by critics at the time. But that was almost nothing compared to how much people hated The Happening, his ecological horror film starring Mark Wahlberg as a science teacher, and often ranked one of the worst films of all time, or at least the 2000s. So yeah, it was clearly time for a change. Apparently the director started watching Avatar with his daughter every week, and really loving it, eventually deciding that he wanted to go at turning it into a trilogy of blockbuster films. Paramount and Nickelodeon were not so sure about doing all three at once, in that style that Peter Jackson used for Lord of the Rings. But they did give the go-ahead to start production on the first movie, with a higher budget than anything Nickelodeon had ever produced. Now this is where things get tricky when you're trying to pinpoint who to blame. Some who worked on the movie or auditioned for it have said that Shyamalan's first draft of the script was much better and more in line with the TV show. Somewhere down the line though, whether it was due to the director or the studio, things definitely went south. One of the creators of Avatar: The Last Airbender, Michael Dante DiMartino, summed up his experience with the project, saying, "A, we didn't want it to be done at all. Before anyone was attached, we didn't want it. And then B, if it was going to be done, we wanted to do it, but they weren't going to let us. C, when they attached Night, we thought, well, this is what we've been dealt. We'll just offer help if it's asked of us, and if not, we'll stay out of the way. In the beginning, it was more positive and we offered help, but then we had a big falling out. So, yeah, obviously the original script changed, and we were left with the lifeless, humorless one in the actual movie. Maybe M. Night really does love the TV show, but if so, he doesn't seem to value what it did best. See, if you're gonna make a live-action Avatar movie, the very first thing they need to get right was to make sure that these three characters were just fun to watch talking to each other. The Aang, Katara, and Sokka of the show joke around, bicker, laugh, get upset. They're a fun, multifaceted group. But this movie doesn't seem to care about character. It cares about backstory, and those aren't the same thing. They talk a lot about Aang's backstory here, but all the emotional weight that the show had, because we cared about that version of the character, is just gone. Like, the Southern Air Temple getting destroyed doesn't mean all that much if his reasons for leaving it are just totally glossed over. It becomes another piece of exposition in a movie completely overstuffed with it. Another great example of this is Sokka and Princess Yue. The movie tries to follow the show closely here, having Sokka fall for her. But in one of the strangest choices in the film, they tell us this in voiceover. Like, literally, to move the plot along, Katara just chimes in to let us know that they got together, which makes it impossible to become invested in. Adapting the entire first season was a huge mistake from the start, but I'm not going to put it all on the director. Apparently, Nickelodeon wanted the movie a lot shorter than the original cut. So the first thing to go was pretty much all of the character moments that didn't move the plot forward, leaving us with a film where people are constantly running from location to location, shouting exposition at us, but absolutely no one has given us a reason to care about these people. I kind of understand how this script could become the mess that it is, but one thing I'll never understand is the casting. Now, I'm the last person on earth to point this out, but Sokka isn't funny here. He's kind of the most dull, generic fantasy hero imaginable. Jackson Rathbone, best known for playing like the 8th most popular Twilight character, is just so bad in the role. Not that the script does him any favors, but like, if you had just shown me this movie, I would have assumed he had zero acting experience. Katara, played by Nicola Perouts, fares a little better, I guess. Now, she's the one stuck with all the awful voiceover, so I don't envy her there. But she really only has one mode, like serious and concerned. Something Katara often was, but here, that's all she is. M. Night apparently said her audition tape was the best child actor audition he'd seen since Haley Joel Osment in Sixth Sense. And if that's the case, I mean, wow, that really didn't translate to the film. Someone posting on avatarspirit.net who claimed to work on the film had a very different story though, claiming that she was only cast as a favor to her billionaire father, who is a well-known investor. Now, I want to be clear, I have no idea if this is true or not, but let's just say after watching this movie and this actress and a few other things, I'm kind of doubtful she has a Osment in Sixth Sense level performance in her. Then there's Noah Ringer. He was a 12-year-old with a black belt in Taekwondo who submitted a video of himself doing martial arts with a shaved head to producers to prove just how right he was for the role. And it worked. So basically, he won the lead role of a major blockbuster with zero acting experience or even an acting audition. Now, I'm sure Ringer was very good at Taekwondo in the video, but it's incredible that this was all they needed. Aang in the show is a big personality. He jumps between being an excited goofball kid to a determined bending master. He was always going to be a really hard role to cast in live action. So I think the fact that they cast someone just based off his martial arts ability really shows exactly where their priorities were. They were interested in the imagery of Avatar, but none of the soul of the story. And the sad thing is, they didn't even do that well, since the movie looks worse than the show in pretty much every way. Lots of people have talked about how goofy the bending looks in this movie, so I won't dwell on it here, but let's just say I don't think they really put their lead's martial arts training to good use. Oh, and Dave Patel is also here, playing Zuko. He's much better than the rest of the kid cast, but I mean, he's not good. And don't even get me started on this bland, completely uninspired take on Iroh. There were supposed to be 2 sequels to The Last Airbender. That was always M. Night's plan. Of course, those never materialized. The film fared okay at the box office, but was hated by critics and fans alike. Nickelodeon itself seemed embarrassed by it. It was their most expensive film, and it managed to get shut out of the Kids' Choice Awards, which aren't exactly the Oscars. I mean, Alvin and the Chipmunks The Squeakquel won Best Picture that year. They quickly moved on, and the movie feels almost forgotten now. A sad footnote only remembered by angry fans and YouTube videos like this one. M. Night's career has recovered a bit since then, thanks to The Visit and Split. But I think for people who love Avatar, this is just a hard one to forgive. I mean, here's hoping that live-action Netflix show they keep talking about making turns out much, much better than this. Oh, and by the way, if you'd like to see more from me, especially more exclusive content, make sure to check out Nebula. It's a YouTuber-owned streaming service with all of my videos, along with some cool stuff you can only see on there. I did a video in their working title series, which is a great show where different YouTubers analyze some of their favorite TV intros. My first one is about Cheers, but I will have an exclusive video about Rick and Morty coming out on the service next month. So be sure to sign up if you want to check that out. I'm really just the tip of the iceberg there too. You'll also see videos from Lindsay Ellis, Patrick H. Willems, Windover Productions, and a ton of others. Plus, if you sign up through CuriosityStream, you'll also get a great documentary streaming service at the same time, featuring thousands of docs on history, science, tech, and a ton more. So sign up to get all of that at the insanely low price of $2.99 a month by going to curiositystream.com/captainmidnight. That's curiositystream.com/captainmidnight.
Here's a special tip for the fellas and girls who have not already joined Captain Midnight's new 1940 Flight Patrol. You'd better hurry up and join at once because there's a big adventure ahead. The thing to do now is to get started, because we're going to have not only barrels of fun, but loads of free gifts and prizes, too.